Gymnasium on the campus of Wake Forest University. Tonight, ACC volleyball action as the Virginia Cavaliers and the Wake Forest Demon Deacons meet for the second time this season. The Cavaliers took the first meeting in Charlottesville, and the Deacons hope to get a split here on the final home weekend of the season. Hello, everybody. I'm Everett Hutcho along with Haley Brooke McFadden. In Haley Brooke, both teams have 2 weeks left in the season. What do they need to do to be successful?
After talking to Coach Smith from UVA before the game, he said that UVA has really found their rhythm recently, and they need to just keep that up by setting the middle, have an effective swing from the middle, and really open up the pins. Coach Randy Smart talked about Wake Forest is a high error team, so mitigating those unforced errors and making UVA earn the points when they're going to score.
Jelena Novakovic for UVA, a big player on the right side, a transfer from Penn State. She's been really good for the Cavaliers this year.
Exactly. She's been absolutely lethal. She brings great size to the right side at 6'3", so she's really able to put up a big block against the outside hitters. She's also left-handed and hits a really flat ball, so she's really difficult to defend and read as a defender.
And for Wake Forest, Parker Tykowski, her 9th match as the starting setter, just a freshman. She's really had to grow into the setting role, but she's gotten better as the year's gone on.
Exactly, and she also seems to be finding her rhythm. Coach Randy is really happy with her progress. She's able to set all of her hitters, and we can see that in the stats with the hitting efficiency.
And as we get ready for action here inside Reynolds Gymnasium, Wake Forest on the gray, and Virginia will be in the Jefferson blue uniforms.
You love to see it.
Wake Forest will get the serve, and Parker Tykowski, the freshman from Grand Rapids, will get us started. It's Kwiatkowski setting, Polchansky on the right side, Kuhn and Seuss are your outsides, Saunders and Della the middles. Will get to Virginia as we go along. First play into the middle, and that's Mila Siperin, who is blocked by Caitlin Della. Siperin and Matthews are the middles for Virginia. The outsides are Billiard and Christine Yarman getting the start. Megan Wilson setting opposite Jelena Novakovic. Overpass tapped down by Della, and quickly Della has 2 quick kills for Wake Forest.
That's what you really love to see. You can see UVA on the very first play of the game wanting to get the middles involved early. And fun fact about Mila Siperin, she actually was committed to Wake Forest. I took her on her visit here.
Both teams have players that had committed to the other school and then ended up coming to a different one.
Exactly. Caroline Kuhn was actually committed to UVA. We can see her number 10 in Area 5 right now for the Demon Deacons. She was also going to be a Cavalier and switched, so kind of a funky matchup tonight.
Sipper in the serve. Polchansky out of the middle gets the kill. She had a really great match the last time we were here against NC State. She had a season-high 13 kills, but then on Sunday against North Carolina, she struggled a little bit.
I think it just comes down to those matchups. Sometimes when you're in the front row, you could be against a bigger block, better defensive scheme, and it depends on the day occasionally.
Billiard's first swing. Kuhn gets the kill. Caroline Kuhn out of the back row for Wake Forest, and right now Wake Forest has gotten 4 of the first 5 points.
And that's a great swing by Caroline Kuhn, the way that she was able to snap on that ball, putting it right in front of the defender. That's a tough ball to pick up.
Backside, and the kill down the line for Jennifer Weinholt. Weinholt will now rotate to the back row and take over the setting responsibility. She's made an adjustment this year, playing the front row for 3 rotations and then having to set 3 rotations.
That can be very taxing on any player. It's a lot of touches on the ball.
Polchansky into the block, and blocking was an area the first time these two teams met that Virginia really dominated. They outblocked Wake Forest 9-3 in that first meeting.
Exactly. You can see on that ball, Billiard was really able to get up high, but also be pressing over the net and turning her hand in to put that ball straight back down.
Peyton Seuss' first swing is successful, and Seuss is the outside that Wake Forest really needs to get going early in this match and have her play a good match throughout.
Exactly. Last time against UVA, she was actually able to hit a .219, which really isn't that bad looking at how the other pin hitters were able to perform in that match.
Billiard from the right side this time. A junior from Matthews, North Carolina. Had 11 kills the first time these two teams met. And you'll see her against Seuss, and there's a hole in the block as Saunders late getting over.
That's a tough swing. Those sharp swings that go right on the right side of the court between Area 1 and Area 2 is really tough to defend.
Polchanski is blocked. And now Virginia has taken 4 of the last 5 points, and we're tied at 5.
Polchanski also had a really great game against UVA last time. She was able to hit a 200, but she's not starting off as hot this match.
Seuss gets her second kill. So Peyton Seuss has 2 kills on 2 swings. And Wake Forest retakes a 1-point lead here early on in the first set.
I love that she was able to kind of hit 2 very different spots for those kills. Keeping her swings diverse is going to help her be successful throughout this match.
Into the middle, and the set is missed, but good play that time by the libero, Spencer, to keep it alive. And a touch is going to give Virginia the point.
We can see Coach Arturo Rivera on the bench kind of asking the ref, okay, what's going on?
Well, the official on the near side, or closest to us, actually called for a touch, but the head official is overruling him, saying that there was no touch.
We can see floor captain Parker Kaitowski is talking to the ref and gone back, and she's kind of relaying the message to the coach, but that's one of those things. Not a whole lot you can do about that. It's just time to move on. Wake Forest is in a good rotation right now. They have their setter front row. Kaitowski did a great job being offensive, so...
Seuss tips and scores. So Seuss has 3 kills early on, 3 of Wake Forest's 7 points.
She's showing a lot of her repertoire. We've seen a lot of different shots from her today.
See a freshman from Casson, Minnesota. Outside for Jarman, and she gets the kill off the block. Christine Jarman, a 6-foot junior from Boynton Beach, Florida.
That's a smart swing. We call that a tool when you're able to hit it off the block and it goes out. So she did a great job tooling that block off of Saunders.
And there's the big serve from Novakovic, but it sails just a little bit long, and that's a win for Wake Forest, getting her off the service line. She has 41 service aces this year, which is 3rd in the ACC.
Last time they played, I noticed she missed a couple of serves, so they ended up putting somebody in there who could just kind of get the ball in. You don't want to bleed out a lot of points to a Wake Forest team that can get into a good rhythm.
And a double contact on the setter, Weinhold.
She kind of looked like she wanted to go forward with it and made that last-minute decision, and when you get your thumbs in that ball, you're going to start to get really flicky, and that's what's going to add that spin.
Wake Forest a 2-point lead. Now just a 1-point lead as Saunders hits it into the net.
Pretty much side-out volleyball so far. Very back and forth. And it's been fast. We've only been playing for 8 minutes and we already have 17 points.
Jarman back to serve for the Cavaliers. Backside, Della's blocked. And the Virginia block is all over the outside attack for Wake Forest. Della's a middle, but she was taking that swing from the pin. But that left side block for Virginia has been very strong, already 3 blocks.
Exactly.
Cyprin gets the back line.
And that's a nice swing. It just shows you don't always have to hit it really hard. You don't always have to bounce the ball, but she's able to find that deep seam, and that's tough when you have a perimeter defense to pick that up.
Outside tip is going to find the floor. Kuhn.
I can't be sure, but I got to say that might be a game plan. You know, we saw Seuss able to have some success with that tip right over the block. We see Caroline Kuhn able to have some success with that tip right over the block. You can't let a tip score if you're UVA.
Outside, and that's going to go wide by Billiard. Very even. Both teams getting little runs, and then the other team seems to bounce right back.
Exactly. Wake Forest is doing a great job not bleeding out those points and not giving them a lot of unforced errors.
Billiard again, this time into the block, and it's Wake Forest that's able to get the block with Della and Polchanski.
Exactly. Just like the last game we broadcasted here at home against NC State, a lot of this comes down to how effective the block can be throughout this match, and Wake Forest is starting to heat it up a little bit.
Kaitowski's been good from the service line.
Wow.
Big swing that time by Cyprian. But Kaitowski got the first 4 points for Wake Forest, and she just got 2 more, so she's gotten 6 of the 12 points from her serve.
Exactly, and that's the kind of effectiveness Wake Forest is going to need to keep up, especially early in this match.
Josie Williams, as Virginia's using a lot of players so far here in the first set. That catches the line from Della. And Della's not getting as many swings inside. They're using her on the slide a little bit more.
Trying to get her in the offense. Anytime you have a middle that's talented and able to convert to as many kills as Della is, you want to get them the ball as many times as possible, and you can't really get the ball to the middle unless it's a perfect pass, so you can do a little bit more if you put her out on that pin.
This is Matthews this time for Virginia getting the kill. So Virginia really trying to work its middles in with Matthews and Cyprian. Matthews is interesting. She's 26th in the NCAA in attack percentage, hitting .397, but she doesn't qualify for ACC stats because she's not getting enough swings per set.
You can't tell me she doesn't think about that a little bit. Like, she's got to want that ball.
Seuss, nice dig by Spencer. Back row swing from Jarman, kept alive. It's Matthews again. She's already got 2 swings this set, so that trying to move it up.
Exactly, and Wake Forest needs to be aware the middle gets heated up for UVA, and now our middles are guessing, should we go block the pin? Do we need to stay true to the middle? And UVA is getting more one-on-one situations that their hitters can put the ball down on.
Della gets the kill for Wake Forest. Now 14-13. Caitlin Clark, the libero, coming in. Senior from Houston, Texas, named to the Academic All-District team today.
One smart cookie.
Cross-court swing. Polchanski. Back into the middle. Big swing by Matthews. Tremendous swing.
The thing about Matthews is she doesn't get blocked often. She does a really great job hitting around the block. We can see the way she approaches. You know she's going to go for that spot, and she's able to flick her swing down in such a way that she also doesn't hit the net, which is a problem we see with middles sometimes. And she tips 0% of the time, so Wake Forest needs to start picking her up on defense.
She's going to get another swing. This one's picked up by Sebesta. Seuss into the block, but covered. She'll get another chance. Novakovic, another good dig by Clark.
The line judge is actually calling that down, so he might have something to say after this play. This play could already be over.
And we will go to a technical timeout as Wake Forest gets the point at 15-14. We'll go to break. We'll have more coming up on the ACC Network.
This is the Nest Hub Max from Google. It plays live TV, and you can pause it with magic. Ta-da! Un-ta-da! Ta-doff! Ta-don!
So as we come back, during the timeout, there was a challenge, and they ruled that ball was down in front of Caitlin Clark, and so Virginia's won the point, and it is now 15-14 Virginia. And because they took the entire time while we were gone to review the play, they have now gone to their timeout. So we are sitting through the technical timeout, and that'll give us a chance to talk about the coaches. For Virginia, Aaron Smith in his 3rd season is 26-60 overall, a 2007 graduate of Penn State, but he is really doing a nice job of sort of changing the culture at Virginia, trying to make volleyball more of a priority, and he's doing a nice job of getting in players like Jelena Novakovic to try and build around and get them from the sort of the bottom of the conference, trying to move them up.
Exactly, and Aaron Smith he's actually been at UVA for 8 years, so he was an assistant coach for 5 years leading up to his head coachship, so he was able to firsthand see what the culture was like, and when you have experience like that, you know exactly what components and what players and what personalities you need to bring in to become a successful ACC team, and they've had a much better season, so it seems like they're doing just that.
And on the other side, of course, Randy Smart at Wake Forest in her first season, 11-14 the record, announced as full-time head coach on October the 11th. And she's just trying to get her teams not to give points away. She talks about being plus-minus, try and get more pluses than minuses, because Wake Forest this year has kind of given away points, and that has led to the 1-13 ACC record.
Exactly, and you don't want to just be bleeding out points to other teams. You want them to earn it. If they get a great kill, an amazing serve, something like that, that's fine. But you don't want to be serving into the net, making senseless hitting errors.
There's a service ace out of the timeout as Kristen Leland gets the ace, and now Virginia has a 2-point lead at 16-14.
That was a great serve. We have not seen Paige DeBesta get aced very much this season.
Backside for Polchansky, goes high hands and gets the kill.
Polchansky's starting to heat up a little bit this game. She had a shaky start at the beginning, but starting to figure out to hit high hands, not just straight low into the block. She's doing a much better job aiming high. Not a lot that they can do on UVA's side.
She's back to serve. Backside swing for Novakovic. Free ball across. 3 hitters for Virginia. They go to the middle. Matthews is picked up by Sebesta. Seuss is blocked. And that's a big block with Novakovic at 6'3". Matthews, she's only 5'11", but she's athletic and can really jump well.
Exactly, and that's Seuss's first error of the game. She's had 5 kills on 7 attempts. She was hitting a 7.14 before this, so it's important for UVA to shut her down.
Another free ball coming. Oh, but it's not. Seuss gets the kill on the tip. And one thing we're seeing is Virginia is not covering the middle of the court on the tips. Right at that 3-meter line seems to be open for Wake Forest to tip, because this should absolutely not have been a kill.
That's basically a free ball, and if you're UVA, you want the other team to tip at you. You want these easy balls, so they're picking up, focusing so hard on picking up these hard-driven balls, and they're letting the easy stuff drop.
Pushed over by Kaitowski. Wahoos do a good job of getting to that one, though. This is Saunders with no block. It's so much easier to swing when there's not a block.
Ideally, that's how you want it. I don't know what UVA was doing. It seems like they jumped with the setter, who's front row, so okay to jump with the setter, but that leaves a huge liability behind on the slide.
Wake Forest is pulled to within, or now is pulled even at 17 all. Big swing by Cyprian, but a great dig by Washington. This is Kuhn going cross court, and she missed it.
And we can see Caroline Kuhn trying to mix it up. She went that tip right over the block, and Jarman was able to run it out. But I would keep going with that tip over the block. Jarman had to run about 30 feet to go pick up that ball, and now they're outside hitters out when that happens. So I would keep it up.
It's another service error for Novakovic. She's 0 for 2 on her serves, and she'll head to the bench as Megan Wilson will come back in. Wilson will take over the setting responsibilities in the back row as Virginia continues to run this 6-2. This is Jarman. Weinholt. And that's a double.
Ooh.
Yep.
That
and
was
Weinholt's
a
the
big
backup
double.
setter. You would think she would be the one to step in and handle that cleanly, but clearly.
Exactly. That's sometimes what can almost make you more nervous, and we're going to see a timeout from Aaron Smith for that ball, but he can kind of see that's a service error compounded with a double from someone who should be able to send out a clean ball. He's probably just going to tell his team, hey, calm down. we're giving them easy points. We just need to reset, and Wake Forest is doing a good job not just giving them any easy points, but UVA is not out of it yet. They lost the first set last time. Were able to come back with a sweep after that. So both teams have to have high levels of focus throughout the duration of this match.
We mentioned there's only 2 weeks left in the regular season, and that means the road to the championship is right around the corner. The selection show will be December the 1st, so just about 2 weeks from now. The selection show will be broadcast on ESPNU, and then the first and second rounds of the NCAA tournament are December 5 through 7th. And then the regionals start again on ESPNU December 13 and 14, followed by the Final Four on December 19 and 21. The national semifinals on ESPN, and the championship game match will be on ESPN2. And these two teams with RPIs at 171 and 211 probably not going to make the NCAA tournament, but Pittsburgh, Louisville, Florida State, and Notre Dame, those four really have a great shot at making the NCAAs from the ACC.
Exactly, but this might not be the end of Wake Forest season. If they're able to win out, they can have no more losses. If they're able to win out, they could go to the NIVC, which is for teams that don't qualify for the NCAA tournament. So for them, it's still very motivating that you could have a little bit of volleyball left to play. Clemson last year went to the finals of it, and Wake Forest was able to beat Clemson twice in season. So they're going to have this hunger to want to be able to still go. So these games are still very important for this Wake Forest team.
Yeah, the qualifications, you have to have a 500 record, and with Wake Forest at 11 and 14, they win their last three. That gives them the 500 record that would qualify them for postseason. It's a good pancake by Seuss. Kuhn tips at Spencer. They run the middle, and she'll get the kill. That's Cyprian again, the sophomore from St. John's, Florida.
Wake Forest just needs to be ready for that shot. Cyprian did a great job. She had her arm up. I think the set was a little higher than she expected, but still able to make a great play.
Jarman back to serve for Virginia, 19 all here in the first set. Della on the slide, gets another kill. It'll be 4 kills for Caitlin Della, tying Peyton Seuss for match high honors.
Great kill by Della. What I love about this set is that it's a little bit faster than her other one, so she's able to hit low and get through the block still.
Kaitowski's been successful on her serves. It's been a good rotation for Wake Forest. This is Kuhn, and she's blocked. Cyprian and Weinholt combine on the block. That is the 5th block for Virginia here in the opening set.
We can see that Weinholt does a great job setting that block. When you're the pin hitter, you want to set that block so when the middle comes in, they know exactly where to go. You don't want to leave big line open or go too far to the pin and you have too big of a land for your middle to cover.
Backside, Della again, another block, but this one's covered. Kuhn gets the kill.
A lot of different shots from Caroline Kuhn today. I love that she's able to hit some lines. She's had some rolls, some tips, some sharp shots. We can see she's able to find the seam on that ball, and that's a really tough ball. That's a ball that UVA's block might need to get a hand on.
She rotates back to serve. Has the big jump serve. Gets an overpass out of it. Della puts it away. That happened about as perfectly as Wake Forest could ask for.
That's
get the overpass and then run the
absolutely what
middle.
you want. Absolutely what you want. And that's going to be a timeout for UVA after that, rightfully so.
And that's just a perfectly run middle against a solo block. You hit it anywhere but in front of you, and you're going to get the kill. And there you see Caitlin Della so far, 5 kills, hitting .571. She's made just 1 error on 7 swings, and the error was when she got blocked. So she's off to a good start. Wake Forest leading by 2 as Coach Aaron Smith calls his second timeout. So Virginia out of timeouts for the remainder of the first set. When we talk about how important the first set is, Virginia is 1-15 when dropping the first set this year. However, their one win was against Wake Forest in Charlottesville earlier this year. So they'll have confidence even if they don't win it, but it's an important stepping stone for both of these teams who are under 500 on the season. To get that first set would be important.
Exactly, and one thing that I think about too is as a player, you don't necessarily know these stats. When I played, I didn't know how many fifth sets my team won or lost. I didn't know, okay, well, I have a really bad chance of winning this game if we lose this set. I never thought about it like that because stats can be tricky. Every game is a new game. Every day is a new day. And anything can happen when you play really hard. It's hard to tell from the RPI, but the ACC really is a tight-knit conference. So you have teams able to knock off top 2 teams. Virginia Tech has been able to take down Louisville. NC State or UNC is able to beat NC State. You have these upsets or these rivalry matches go ways that you don't expect because this is a really great conference. You have a Power 5 conference and you have to be ready for everything. It's not just about the stats.
Aaron Smith thinking about his rotation and how to get a kill here, or a side out, I should say, at 22-20. It's a big swing point for Wake Forest if they can get it.
Going with the 4-man servicey for UVA as well.
And they get it because Madison Matthews crushes one.
Exactly. You got to get the middle involved. And she, as I mentioned, really doesn't get blocked. She is the more effective middle, and she only has 1 more rotation, 2 more rotations up front. So you want to get her the ball as much as physically possible.
And a timeout called by Coach Randy Smart. That's her first timeout of the set. And we mentioned the swing point. You're in a 1-point game. First 1 to 3, got to win by 2. So if Wake Forest gets the point, it would be 23-21, and then you're in a side-out situation. You just have to side out twice to win the game. If Virginia wins, then you're tied, and it's anybody's game for the next 3 points. So a really big point, and Coach Smart wants to make sure her team is on the same page of what they want to run here.
Exactly, and I talked to Coach Randy Smart for the game, just asking what are some of the things that you talk about when you're in a pressurous situation in the game. And she said when Wake Forest calls the timeout, as we can see, she's normally the one that's talking to the team. She's just telling them, hey, we're in serve receive, get the ball to the 5 or 10 foot line. It doesn't need to be an absolutely perfect pass. Let's just get something producing on the offense. I think sometimes when you stress the passers, shoulders down, really push it, all these things, they tend to overpass or get swingy, and that's when you see these balls that ricochet off serve receivers' arms like foul balls. So just working on being good. Everyone here has played a lot of volleyball. It's time to kind of go on autopilot a little bit and just play the game.
And Virginia, of course, in their huddle, they need this point to kind of stay in the set. What's Coach Smith telling his team?
I think Coach Smith is just going to say, hey, get the ball to Matthews. If Wake Forest gives us a free ball, if they tip it over the block, I would be so ready for those tips. I would be so ready to scoop that up and give it to Matthews. She's having a great game. No reason they can't get the ball to her right now.
Madison Matthews right now, 4 kills, no errors, 6 swings, hitting .667, and she's got 3 blocks to go along with that. So when she's been up for those 3 rotations, those have been big scoring rotations for Virginia. Della. Backside for Novakovic, and we're tied.
And that's a great play. Not quite a good enough dig to get it to the middle, but still able to throw it behind. And right back right now has been kind of a liability for Wake Forest this game. I don't think we've seen very many digs coming from there.
Game to 3, got to win by 2. Seuss gets Wake Forest 1 closer.
Great swing by Seuss. Again, not another power shot, kind of a finesse play. Very thummy, very wrist down, just able to put it in the corner. Not much that they can do about it.
5 kills for Seuss here in the opening set. Clark to serve. Backside, this is Billiard who gets the kill. And we're tied again at 23.
Great swing by Billiard. We see a sub coming in for UVA. This should be a pretty good defensive lineup back here. It looks like we have a libero, a defensive specialist, and Billiard.
And another timeout for Wake Forest. So both teams are out of timeouts. As we mentioned, right now, it's essentially deuce game. 23-23, someone's got to win 2 points in a row.
Exactly. This is a drill when I played for Wake Forest. This is a drill we did every day in practice. We would play little mini games. Both teams are at 23, and we just duke it out. Then swap, next lineup, play to 2, because it's so important at the end of these games. You can't, you don't have the room to have service errors. You don't have the room to try something on swings. It's time to set your go-to hitters, what's working. As a setter, you have to know what's working, and as a passer, it's time to lock in. You've passed against all these servers now, several rotations. No reason you can't get a decent ball up to your setter.
And we were talking with both coaches, and they talk about unforced errors and not making the mistakes. This is where a mistake really kills you, because if you give up a point here, it's set point to the other side.
Exactly. And as a player, it's hard. You don't want to think about, don't make a mistake, don't make a mistake, don't make a mistake. But you have to know, okay, this is the time. Big players have to make big plays in stressful situations. You have to be thinking aggressively. Playing to win versus playing not to lose is really going to be the difference that we see. They have to be aggressive, but be aggressive and be smart.
It'll be interesting. Kristen Leland is serving for Virginia. The last time she served out of a timeout, she got a service ace to get Virginia really back into this set. She's serving after a timeout again, so the second time she served after a timeout. Last time she went at Sebesta and got the ace. Now Seuss is pushed back and Sebesta is in the middle. So
Exactly.
3 passers for Wake Forest, 2 hitters.
It's a great seam serve.
Backside Polchansky tips. Chance for Virginia to get a point on serve. Jarman into the block, covers herself. Push deep. This is Seuss. Jarman again into the block.
Wow.
Kept alive, but it's going to go out. Great hustle by Virginia to keep that alive, but the point goes to Wake Forest, and it's now set point Deacons.
That is a huge point in this match. Look at the hustle. We see a little bit of a coverage ball. Weinhold just can't really do a whole lot with that. Kind of a chicken wing off the elbow for that. That's tough.
So Polchansky to serve for set number 1. Deacons got to get a point on serve. Backside. Pushed over.
A lot of 2 dumps right now.
This is Seuss. Can't put it away. It's a tight set, and she's in the net. That's a point for Wake Forest, and that'll give the set to the Demon Deacons as Virginia in the net on set point. That'll take us to a break. When we come back, we'll see if Wake Forest can hold on after winning the first set. They lead 1 set to...
This is the Nest Hub Max from Google. It plays live TV, and you can pause it with magic. Ta-da! Un-ta-da! Ta-doff! Ta-don!
Welcome back to Reynolds Gymnasium. Wake Forest takes the opening set 25-23. Remember, on Sunday, November 24th, we'll have number 1 women's team in the nation and the number 4 men's team in college basketball. A doubleheader as Sabrina Onishu and the top-ranked Oregon Ducks square off against number 20 Syracuse at the Carrier Dome at 4 p.m. Eastern. Then 4th-ranked Louisville host Akron. Both games are right here on the ACC Network and the ESPN app. We are in that part of the year where the sports cross over. Fall sports winding down. Winter sports starting to kick into full gear. And of course, basketball big here in the ACC, and these 2 teams trying to make volleyball a little bit bigger. Wake Forest has taken the opening set. We mentioned Virginia 1-15 when losing the opening set, but their 1 win was against Wake Forest earlier this year. And Coach Randy Smart, you see in your screen, trying to get her team to play throughout. Just winning the first set doesn't mean you've won the match. You still got to get the next 2.
Exactly, which can be a little bit stressful because it kind of gives you, thoughts back to when they played at UVA and they were able to win that first set, and then they got swept 3 in a row. The last set against UVA was 25-11. So being able to tell your team, hey, we got to stick in there and we can't just give it up and let them come in and take this from you at your home court.
Christine Jarman will serve to start the second set for Virginia. Virginia hit 250 in the opening set. Both teams hit 250. The difference was Wake Forest sided out 65% of the time. Virginia only 60%. There you see the numbers when Virginia loses the first set. Wake Forest gets the point on the double contact, and right now, Virginia has given up some free points.
Exactly, but I will say what I really liked, I walked by the huddle coming over here in between sets, and I could see number 6, Megan Wilson, talking to her team. You know, and as a setter, you are the quarterback of that team. Even that set she just had was absolutely beautiful, and you are the quarterback of your team, and you have to tell them, hey, we're going to get through this. This is what we're going to run, telling your offense what's going to go on. It seems like she's doing just that at the start of this set.
That was a great swing by Mila Siperin. That ball bounced almost 8 feet off the floor. Polchansky with the kill, says it doesn't matter how high it bounces. This is as long as it bounces.
Exactly, and she's done a great job adjusting her own swing. We saw at the beginning of the match, she was swinging really low and getting blocked, and now she's aiming for those high hands, and that's tough to run down as a defender.
Caitlin Clark serves short. Backside set for Weinholt. This is Seuss. Seuss had a good first set with 5 kills. And Billiard gets the kill for UVA.
Another right back ball falls. If I'm UVA, I'm talking to my team and identifying that there's a weakness right now on the Wake Forest floor. No matter who's in the right back, I don't know if it's a blocking scheme issue or just a defensive issue, but Wake Forest needs to pull that together to be successful in this match.
Polchansky cross court. That catches the line. So 2 kills for Polchansky early on in set number 2. She now has 4 on the match.
Great dig by Paige Sebesta. We see Polchansky does a good job opening up. It can be awkward. We talked about this before the game. It can be awkward as a right side hitter to have to open up to take a swing on those balls.
Serve sails long. Virginia able to tie it up again. Polchansky will go out. Peyton Washington will come in to play defense.
This is Wake Forest's best serve-receive lineup. You have 2 DSs and a libero. You can't get much better than that. I should knock on wood anytime I say that we see an ace come out. But this should be a good rotation for Wake Forest.
2 hitters, Seuss and Saunders. Saunders gets the kill.
And that's a good swing. I think Spencer, the libero for UVA, was moving a lot on defense. We can kind of see she kind of stepped right, then left, and, you know, as a defender, you have to be balanced and just wait, especially in middle back.
Side out volleyball so far here in set number 2. Chance for Wake to get a point on serve. Saunders a little bit off on her approach. And Jarman gets the kill. And the side outs continue.
That's a great swing by Jarman, being able just to face it in kind of a pool cue. You know, she just goes up, puts it nicely into the corner. That's a really tough ball. Those seam balls are tough to run down.
Joust at the net, kept alive momentarily, but Virginia gets the first point on serve, and they take the lead 5-4.
Good idea by Kaitowski. You know, it's a tight pass, not a whole lot that you can do with it. I would just be talking to my passer saying, hey, please do not put me in that situation right now. Need to set our hitters.
Free ball for UVA. They've got 3 hitters. They go outside to Jarman. This is Kuhn. That's going to be out. Oh, they got a touch.
Starting to look like a bit of a track meet for Kaitowski. Wake Forest needs to balance those balls, get them a little bit more in the middle of the court, make her job a little bit easier so she can put up a little better ball for her hitters right now.
5-5 the score. Saunders back to serve for Wake Forest. This is Kuhn again. This time she puts it straight down. Off the block.
Great swing. We can see Siperin did not close that block. She's going up. There was just a little hole that Caroline Kuhn was able to find right off Siperin's right hand. Just a great swing.
5 kills now for Kuhn in the match. To the middle, Siperin. Kuhn again, a little bit early on her approach. And that swings into the net by Novakovic.
Looks like UVA is getting a little bit out of sorts in the middle of that play. Cyprian kind of fell down. We can see Novakovic kind of fell after her swing. UVA has to find that rhythm again. Coach Aaron Smith talked a lot about rhythm before this game, and it seems like they're getting a little panicked. They're getting a little choppy. They have to kind of find that tempo that they're comfortable playing at.
I was worried about Cyprian when I saw her go down, but she readjusted the active ankles, and she seems to be fine. Serve goes wide. Point for Virginia.
I'm interested to see. We can see Novakovic is going back right now. I'm interested to see if she goes for another topspin.
She's missed her first two. She gets this one in the court. Kuhn on the slide. Jarman, and that's long.
Jarman still going for that back corner. It's been pretty effective for her so far, but not able to put it in right now. We have Megan Wilson checks back in for the Cavaliers, and I think she's really their quarterback. I think she's the one who's really the brains. I think she's the one that's really coordinating things for them. So let's see how they do with her back on the floor.
Well, she's the one who has played the whole season as Cyprian gets the kill.
And
Megan Wilson started the season in a 5-2 along with Maddie Boylson. Boylson got injured, and so she's out, and that is why Weinholt is in the back half of that 5-2, or 6-2 rather. But Wilson's the one common denominator. She's been there throughout as Kuhn gets the kill.
What a swing by Caroline Kuhn. I call that an outside-in swing, so she kind of was outside, and she's able to pull that ball back in by flicking her thumb upwards.
Got it around the block. Everything looked like she was going angle, and she ended up going inside the blocker. But her serve is into the net. And just back and forth we go. 9-8. Neither team able to gain any advantage here in the second set.
We can see UVA's libero Spencer is out, so this is a time where Wake Forest needs to capitalize and not let this service run go on too long.
Seuss tips. Chance for Virginia to get a point on serve. They can't do it as the block of Seuss and Della.
And I think that's really another example how UVA is getting themselves a little bit out of sorts. The libero was off the court, so they had a middle set that ball, and it kind of gets everything out of whack. You have to know if the libero's off the court and the setter gets the first ball, either a defensive specialist or the other outside should be taking that second ball.
Billiard with the kill. That's 5 kills for Sarah Billiard. Both teams hitting well. Wake Forest at 306, Virginia at 208.
Point-for-point volleyball, high-level volleyball today. No blowouts in any particular category, which is what we like to see.
Saunders with a good swing. That set was a little lower than she wanted, but she was able to get the hand through the zone and put it down.
I loved how she sped up. A lot of middles get a low set and they slow down and have to tip it from their chest. She knew, hey, I want to swing on this still, and she just sped it up and was able to get a great swing.
That's going to sail out. That was an awkward swing for Novakovic, a left-handed, left-side player. The ball's sort of on the wrong side for her, and you can tell she had to adjust her body to get the swing.
I'd have to get Saunders that point. That's the first time Matthews has been blocked, and so now they have to spread the offense more, and it caused them to make an error.
Billiard. Seuss with the kill.
Wow.
And talk about speeding up. Peyton Seuss sped up her approach to get to that ball.
Exactly, and I'd say before Kaitowski really found her rhythm in setting as a freshman, she always had a great rhythm right here with Seuss, and we can see that connection.
Because if that
is
set's
really
higher,
nice.
it's blocked.
Exactly.
This is Billiard again. Tipping deep and out.
It's a lot of hitting errors by Virginia.
This is now a 4-0 run for Wake Forest, and it forces Virginia into the timeout. We will take the timeout with them. Wake Forest leading 14-9 in the second set.
Geico makes it easy to get help when I need it. With licensed agents available 24/7, it's not just easy. It's having Jerome Bettis on your flag football team easy. Go get him, Bus!
Geico. Licensed agents available 24/7.
Welcome back inside Reynolds Gymnasium. Wake Forest on a 4-0 scoring run as Michelle Polchansky goes back to serve for the Demon Deacons, already up 1-0. This is Billiard. Back row swing for Sebesta. Billiard again. Nice play defensively by Matthews. Seuss into the block. Matthews kept that point going, and Virginia able to get a block and a much-needed point.
It's a great block by Matthews, but I'd say the biggest thing, UVA was hitting at 250 and Wake was hitting at 250 after that first set, and now UVA's down to hitting a 170. Wake is shot up to a 333. Coach Aaron Smith talked so much before the game about UVA's offense really being what's led to their recent success. So if he wants to be successful this match, UVA's got to step up on the offense.
There is a challenge on the floor. Not sure exactly what the challenge is. Get a peek over the official shoulder, and we're looking at the net cam. This is a Wake Forest challenge. I guess we're looking for a touch, maybe?
Ooh, I think you're right. Man.
This is a great view.
Yeah.
To be able to
I
to
think
peek
there's a
in.
touch based off of this, but I wouldn't say that this is prime time viewing. That looks like a touch to me. That doesn't look like just net movement.
We're going to look at it.
Let's see.
Maybe get an angle here. Well, there's definitely a touch there. No question there. I think this is maybe
he blew. Did he blow the whistle before the play? Because if the ref were to blow the whistle that there wasn't a touch and everybody's pursuing it, even though they didn't get the pursuit, Wake Forest can say, hey, well, you blew the whistle.
There's definitely a touch.
That's all I can think. But I don't see the ref, blowing the whistle, because normally he'd blow the whistle and make a sign. So I don't see that. I'm not really sure what Wake Forest would be.
Yeah, I'm not sure where the challenge is. I'm not sure if that's the part of the challenge we were seeing.
Exactly.
They give the ball to Virginia.
So it remains. And so Coach Randy Smart doesn't lose a challenge or anything like that because she lost this challenge. Whether you win or lose the challenge, your challenges go away. You get 3 per match. This is Wake Forest's first year with challenges in their gym.
And it's not really gone well for Coach Smart. I'm not sure her success. Her challenge success has been very good.
I don't know if anyone's challenge success is great though, because I think there's an element of biasm in it.
True. Seuss tipping. And the kill for Novakovic. And Virginia has 2 points in a row after Wake Forest went on a 4-0 run. You look at the swing from Novakovic.
Great swing from Novakovic right between the block. Wake Forest able to get a hand on it, but your blockers need to pop that ball up. Even if they're not closing, even if they're not getting a great touch, you got to go up with it, not down.
Seuss. Novakovic again, another hole in the block. 2 straight swings she's had as Saunders hasn't been able to close, and it's now 14-12.
Exactly, and on that one, it almost looked like it went in between the hands of Peyton Seuss, so I think she's going up a little wide with her hands to compensate with Saunders not closing.
Saunders on the swing, puts it down for a point.
I almost couldn't tell what side that was on. That was a fast one. I had to wait for the reaction of the players.
It was straight down off the block. The question of which side of the net was it on. But it was on Virginia's side, and Wake Forest back up by 3.
We have Caroline Kuhnup, who's hitting a .417 right now. That's got to be one of her season highs.
It's a service ace for Peyton Seuss. And that is her 27th ace of the year. She is 10th in the ACC in service aces.
As a freshman, 10th overall. That's lethal. Absolutely lethal.
Next set for Novakovic. She's blocked. And Kuhn and Saunders. Saunders able to close this time and gets a big block. Wake Forest back up by 5 here in the second set.
And that's a great read by Saunders. Sometimes you can get kind of tricked by the setter. She did a good job seeing where the setter's hands were facing and getting there so that she could close that ball.
Into the middle, Matthews, another kill. You can see why she hits at such a high percentage. Nothing she hits is straight. Everything's at a sharp angle, and she hits at a sharper angle than most. Look how sharp this angle is.
And a lot of that
That's a
comes from
great
she
swing.
goes thumb down with it. So not only is she finding it with the way her body's facing, but she's able to add an extra kind of flair, kind of spin onto the ball to make it even sharper. And that's hard as a defender to read.
It's hard to pick up a ball 1 foot off the 3-meter line.
Exactly. It basically has to be entirely read or reaction defense because you have to run after the ball. You don't get a really great read on it.
Jarman blocked but covers herself. Novakovic. Saunders runs it down. Della. Jarman again. Kept alive. Washington tries to push it over. She's called for hands. That's the right call.
Yeah, that's the right call.
Yep.
And that happens. And I will say, speaking of hands, one thing I've noticed with UVA, we can see in the back row, they have a defensive specialist, number 22, Kristen Leland. She's been able to put up a really great ball for her hitters. Have you noticed how clean and nice her hands are throughout the duration of this match? She's able to keep them in system.
This is Della. Tight. Kuhn able to push it down, and that went off a Virginia player. That was Weinholt kind of flying through the air.
I love that play because that's a play with no fear. She was playing to win that point, not playing to not lose that point. A great offensive effort by Wake Forest. Oh, and they're calling, UVA is calling a challenge. We can see Coach Aaron Smith over to the left.
Well,
talking
the
to
only thing
Conrad.
he would be challenging is if the ball was in the plane of the net for Kuhn, because Kuhn did reach a little bit, but she definitely tapped it down off of Weinholt. So there's no
it's-
question the ball hit Weinholt before it went out.
Gotta be the plane. But thankfully, but the down ref called the touch.
No, they're challenging the touch. So Coach Smith is challenging that there was a touch. He thinks that Kuhn just hit it out of bounds. He didn't see the ball hit off the backside of Weinholt as she was going through the air. I think this is not going to. I think the call is going to be confirmed because when Kuhn touches it, it hits Weinholt as she's going across.
I think best case scenario for UVA right now is they review it. They have a great net cam right now set up tonight. So best case for them is they actually notice if it was over the plane.
Yeah.
Because if they were to see another call or another violation, they are allowed to make that call. It used to be when challenges came out and I was playing, they would make a challenge, and if it wasn't there but they saw another issue, it was like, okay, well, you didn't ask for that.
Here's the play. And there you see it hit Winehouse
Definitely
in the
hits her.
6. There's no question it hits her in the 6.
And you can see her,
Yeah.
she kind of leans over like, oh.
But in fairness
No.
to Coach Smith, as that the call goes the way as we thought it is Wake Forest point.
But
So
it
the
does
call's
serve as a
confirmed.
nice timeout.
But where he's standing, he can't see this ball hit her in the back. And so he thought that ball just went out.
Right.
And that's why he challenged. But it clearly hit her in this.
Normally, as a player, your coach kind of asks, like, hey, wink, wink, is this something I should burn a challenge on or not?
That's wide. Kuhn again going for it. Like you said, she was out there trying to win that point with a big swing, but just a little bit wide.
And that's only her second error this match. She's done a really great job remaining really consistent, keeping the ball in play, and she's been able to get kills on some balls that weren't necessarily the toughest swings.
Service ace off the top of the net for Kristen Jarman. Virginia trying to claw back into this set. They trail by 3. They've trailed by as many as 5.
As a player, I never really worried about the low percentage shots, I would say. That's kind of the 1 in a million weird shots.
Della can't put it down. Good hustle to keep it alive, but that's going to sail out.
You can see Weinhut for UVA kind of Gave a big exhale after that. She got really close to that ball, sailing out. She almost made a touch on that one. But you can just kind of see the panic on both teams. Della taking a ball over in 2. She says, I do not want to risk this. And UVA also making a lot of panicky plays here at the end of the set.
Coach Smart calls her first time out of the set. Each team has 1 remaining. It's 19-17 Wake Forest. The Demon Deacons hitting 250 on the match, the same as they hit in the first set. Virginia's percentage has dropped to 172. They're hitting 071 here in this second set, which makes for Wake Forest the need to win this set even greater. That Virginia hasn't hit particularly well. You don't want to give a team a set victory when they don't hit well.
Exactly, and that's what really led UVA to victory last time against Wake Forest is they had really scrappy defense, and not only that, but they were able to convert on those digs. Their offense was able to do something with it, and right now, we're not really seeing that. We're seeing a lot of panicked plays, a lot of confusion, a lot of swings out. We've seen a lot of swings deep this set. UVA has to find that rhythm in their offense if they want to remain in this game.
The Huddle with Jack Collinsworth, Eric McLean, EJ Manuel, and Mark Rick get you set up for the weekend slate of ACC games tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern on ACCN and the ESPN app. A big day of football coming up tomorrow, but we've got volleyball tonight and Sunday. We will have these final 2 home games for Wake here on ACCN. 1 o'clock on Sunday, Boston College will be in town. Wake Forest dealing with Virginia right now. They lead 1-0 and 19-17 here in the second set. Nobody there to hit that. But the block is there. Tipping deep and out.
Another deep hitting error or tipping error from Virginia. They need to capitalize.
Weinhold had the right idea. The spot was open. She just went too far with it, and now Paige Sebesta will check in for Carolyn Kuhn.
And Paige Sebesta had a great serving run against North Carolina State University last time we were broadcasting. Able to get about 6 points, really get them into that game.
This is billiard.
Questionable double could have been called, I think.
Seuss pushes it over. Set misses its target. And that's out. That was not the cleanest setting we've seen by either team. It was like both setters kind of missed their hitters a couple of times.
Exactly. Normally when a double doesn't get called, it seems to kind of balance out like that for whatever reason.
Mila Siperin to serve for the Wahoos. Seuss, big swing, but it was out. Too bad because she absolutely crushed that ball.
That was a great swing. I think the problem was she faced line with her shoulders, and she also threw her thumb up a little bit with that right hand, which also caused it to go just a little too sharply line.
Tips this one, and we have a lift. And all of a sudden, it's tied at 20.
And the deal is, the new wave deal with tips and carries and all that good stuff, is that you can take the ball for it not to be a lift. You have to take it from in front of your head and just move in one direction. She kind of was an upward motion with her hand, and it was outside of her body. I think she just had a long contact on that.
Della puts it away, and Wake Forest needed that point. And Caitlin Della able to deliver.
We can see Della's able to get in there. Kind of an awkward set. You know, that's hard for a middle to be able to have that odd spacing from the setter and still make it work, but she's able to make it work, and you have Saunders in the front now for Wake Forest.
Billiard hit it out. We've seen a couple of those big swings that just go out.
UVA asking for a touch. I don't know if Aaron Smith is going to use a challenge on this one. Looks like he does not.
Go right back to her. Somebody's in the net. It was Wake Forest.
I'm not sure who's in the net, but they almost took it down.
They got it going up on the block. They clipped it going up.
Because when you go to block, especially swing blocking, you're turning from the side to I always say it kind of looks like a rainbow with your hands, and somebody might have just gotten caught. We get a look at Paige Sebesta. She might be getting this ball in serve receive.
Nice swing, and that's in. Saunders with an important kill for Wake Forest. Take a look at it here.
Saunders goes up. We call this kind of a push one. It's not exactly a B. It's kind of pushed out. Normally on a regular one, the middle gets really tight to the setter, but Olivia Saunders able to make it work with some distance.
Nice dig by Clark. That ball took a deflection off the block. Seuss gets a big kill. Peyton Seuss, and it's set point Wake Forest.
What a great defensive effort by both teams. That's going to cause a timeout by Aaron Smith.
Peyton Seuss has 7 kills on the match. Caroline Kuhn leading all attackers with 8. But this is a big one because it gives Wake Forest set point, and you see Matthews just a little bit late getting over.
Exactly. We can see she almost overturned. As blockers, you want to be shoulder to shoulder, which can feel really awkward, but Matthews really needs to be on that right side, shoulder to shoulder, able to turn it in, especially on a pivotal point like this. We have Wake Forest at set point right now, and you're going to see both Randy Smart and Arturo talking to the team. Randy's going to be talking about kind of the setting, if they lose this point going into side out, what they need to do, and Arturo's going to be talking to them about the defense. UVA is probably going to get this ball back over. What do you do with that?
Right now, it's all about attack percentage. Wake Forest hitting 200 in the set. Virginia hitting 029 in this set. And that's helped Wake Forest build a 3-point lead. The good thing for the Demon Deacons right now is they don't have to score on serve. It would be great to score on serve, but even if Virginia wins this next point, Wake Forest still has 2 chances to get a side out to still win the set.
Exactly. UVA needs to remain aggressive. I like that they're being really aggressive, but they're not really giving themselves a chance to play. They're not really doing themselves any favors with all these out balls. If you're going to make an error right now, get blocked. I would go for it. Get blocked. All these balls hitting out, it's just making the Wake Forest defense hang out.
Billiard, Matthews, Novakovic in the front row for Virginia. Kwiatkowski, Seuss, and Saunders in the front row for Wake Forest. Polchanski to serve for the second set. It's Billiard, and she keeps it going.
Exactly. Just like on that ball, challenge the block. They haven't been blocked that much this set. Partially, they haven't given themselves an opportunity to be blocked. But challenge the Wake Forest block. Let your team have the trust in your team to cover you.
Now it's up to Wake Forest to side out for the set. Kristen Leland to serve for Virginia. Sebesta, Clark, and Washington to pass. Backside, Seuss. Jarman tips deep, and it catches the back line, and Virginia is within 1.
That seems to be the shot she was going for earlier this match. She's able to find it right now. She's normally hit the 5-6 seam, and she's made a lot of errors.
And a timeout called by Wake Forest. This is, it's obviously a huge point at set point, but at 24-23, if Wake Forest can get the point as we look at this one, and that is in, didn't even catch the line. That was in by a good foot.
Exactly, and I love that set by Leland. She's not the libero. She's not the setter. She's a defensive specialist who's coming in, again, putting up another great ball for her hitters. And, Jarman tips that not because she had to tip it. We see a lot of hitters do that, but she tips it because she knows that it's going to be a smart play. And that's what UVA needs to do. They don't need to go for the kill every single time. They just need to make smart plays that can get the Deacons out of system.
For Wake Forest here, you've got 2 hitters in the front row, Seuss and Saunders. Which one do you want to get the ball to here with Kwiatkowski in the front row?
Well, statistically, Olivia Saunders, she's hitting a 7.14 on the match. That's really hard to beat. But Seuss, her numbers are tricky. She's hitting an 0.87, but she's not doing a bad job. She does a great job getting the other team out of system and putting it in. So really, Wake Forest is in a great situation. If you get a perfect pass, I say give it to Saunders. Let her really open up the pins. And if it's not such a great pass, shoot it out to Seuss, a quick set, beat UVA's block, and you have a kill and you're done with it.
24-23, Wake Forest up by 1 here in the second set. They took the opening set 25-23.
And this is also the serve receive lineup you want to have for Wake Forest. You have a defensive specialist, and a libero. You really can't get much better than that.
Leland to serve. It's the third time she served after a timeout.
She got an ace after that first one,
She
did
had
she
an
not?
ace once, yep. Seuss blocked. We're tied.
I'd say that has to go back to the pass. We see Washington puts the ball behind the setter, and everybody kind of knows where she's going to set that ball, so everybody, all the blockers are going to camp out on Seuss on that play.
So 3 straight points for Virginia. Seuss tipping, and a nice dig that time by Jarman, I believe, kept that one alive. And Saunders able to put it away.
Great play by Olivia Saunders. I love to see a tough swing like that. But UVA needs to communicate. That's another communication breakdown before this play that caused them to have to give basically a free ball, which allowed Wake Forest to have a play like that.
But now Wake Forest has to score on serve. Backside. And there's the block by Saunders. So Saunders,
in a row.
They give it to Virginia. Wake Forest in
What's
the
the
net.
call?
It looks like it's a net call.
I think they're saying Olivia was in the net on that play. We can see the down ref normally is the one that indicates the number on his hand. And it looks like he indicated
That is a
number
huge
15.
call. So Saunders in the net, a point for Virginia. We play on. Kuhn blocked. And Virginia takes a 26-25 lead.
That's not a ball that you can get blocked on. We can see good high-low set, or excuse me, a high-tight set, high-low set, and one blocker on Caroline Kuhn, and she hits it right into the singular blocker and no coverage.
Blocked again. Back-to-back blocks for Virginia, and they steal the second set.
Go from thinking Wake Forest
27-25.
wins
Yep,
to
and
UVA coming back. It's never over in the ACC.
so we're tied at a set apiece as we go to the intermission. We'll be back with more on the ACC Network.
This is the Nest Hub Max from Google. It plays live TV, and you can pause it with magic. Ta-da! Un-ta-da! Ta-doff! Ta-don!
Everett Hetzo, Haley Brooke McFadden back with you at Reynolds Gym. Virginia used a 5-1 run to overcome 3 set points to take set number 2, 27-25, and even this best of 5 at a set apiece. We'll take a look at some news and notes from around the ACC. Of course, the Pitt Panthers are still number 2 in the nation. They are one of 4 one-loss teams in the top 25. There are 4 teams tied for second in the ACC standings at 10-4. Florida State, Notre Dame, Georgia Tech, and North Carolina all just behind the Panthers. And, of course, North Carolina, a big turnaround as they have won 10 of their last 12. Last season, you see they were 4-14 in the ACC. This year, 10-4. So North Carolina, a big turnaround. Pitt, but still the class of the ACC right now.
And Pitt's a young team overall. That's really exciting for them. They're going to be a force to be reckoned with for years to come.
I don't know what it is about the state of Pennsylvania that grows volleyball players, but Penn State was dominant for years, and now Pitt has improving and doing better than Penn State this year. We'll take a look at how we got here in this match, 1-1 between Virginia and Wake Forest. Blocking has been big for the Cavaliers. They have 10 blocks. They're averaging 5 blocks a set. 10 blocks on the match. Caroline Kuhn leading all attackers with 8 kills, hitting .357 on the match. Peyton Seuss has been up and down in this one. She's gotten some big kills, but has 7 kills, but she's hitting .041. Olivia Saunders thought she had it, but this is the net call that gave the point. And you see those forearms into the net. So a good call. And that block. Wake Forest thought they had won that set on that, but that net gave the point to Virginia. It tied it at 25-25, and then Virginia blocked the next 2 points. And that's what gave Virginia the win in that second set. Overall, Wake Forest leading in the kills department, but Virginia up big in blocking. Aces are pretty even. The overall attack percentage is pretty even. But blocking, a big story in that set.
Exactly. I think UVA just did a really great job compensating. They were only able to hit as a team, I believe, a .105 that last set. And so for them to be able to come back and compensate with that block was huge for the momentum turn, especially at the end. We can see Matthews had a game-winning block.
Sarah Billiard leading Virginia with 7 kills. Siprin, Matthews, and Novakovic all with 5 each. Jarman with 3, Weinholt with 1. Wake Forest, Kuhn with 8, Seuss with 7, Della and Saunders 6 each, and Polchansky 4, your attacking leaders.
And statistically, Wake Forest is winning this match. It's just about when they make the errors. It's hard to string together errors at the end of a match and expect to win against a team that is talented like UVA.
Well, and for Wake Forest, too, they're still sort of learning how to win these. They had 3 set points in that last set and couldn't get it done. We saw last Friday they had a couple of set points against NC State that they let get away from them. Those are points that if you can win them and build an advantage in the set, but now it's tied. But they come out with a block as Polchansky and Della get a block and give Wake Forest the lead 1-0 here in the third set. Best thing to do is just come back and win the next set.
Exactly, and I think a big difference between this game and the NC State game that did not go in Wake Forest's favor is the vibe and the feeling and the atmosphere on the bench is so much better. I walked by the huddle in between the sets, and Wake Forest seemed really positive. They had players that weren't necessarily getting playing time this match, talking to the team, telling them their observations. It seemed very light. Everyone seemed very happy still. You can't get too down in a match even if you're frustrated. And that's the biggest thing, not to get frustrated.
Well, volleyball, one of those sports where momentum can change so quickly.
Firsthand, we've seen it in this match.
Carolyn Kuhn having a nice match. She's got 9 kills so far. She had 17 against Elon much earlier in the season.
We're going to see her sub out right now for Paige Sebesta. Paige had a nice serve. She didn't get a big run this time, like in the NC State game, but she's really doing a great job getting UVA out of system, and now that they're only passing with 2 serve receivers, definitely the move.
Into the middle, and another kill for Madison Matthews.
She was hitting .397 coming into this match, and she's not a really big player. She's only 5'11". She's a freshman. She does a really great job, but she's able to get up high, and she has such great technique and is able to hit those angles. That's something we don't see in a lot of freshman middles.
She's hitting .600 on the match right now. She's in the net, though, on this one. So Matthews in the net gives the point to Wake Forest. But going back to Matthews, the freshman record at Virginia for a freshman season is .358. We mentioned she's hitting .397. She's way above that mark. If she can continue, she'll reach that with no problem. So that serve is just a little bit wide. The overall Virginia single-season record for attack is .404 by Beth Brockle back in 1998. So that is almost a 20-year record, or 30-year record, that she has a chance to break. I mean, she's got a realistic chance to break that record. This is Saunders.
Wow.
Seuss is going to score with the tip. We saw that early in set number 1. Seuss found that zone 2 right behind the block and scored a couple times, and she finds it again there.
Exactly, and we can see Jarman after that play says, hey, my bad, because UVA is having their off blocker, their outside hitter, run down those tips. So if she's not there to run it down, it's just going to fall. They have to be locked in on defense every single play.
Washington checks in for Polchansky, and Spencer goes back to serve. 5'11" junior from North Canton, Ohio. The emergency libero, because Kelsey Miller, who was leading the ACC in digs, was injured, and is now out for the rest of the year. Miller was averaging 4.48 digs per set, and now Spencer has taken her place in the libero jersey. Backside, Novakovic blocked but covered. She'll get another swing. Back row for Seuss. She's just going to push it over. Into the middle, Cyprian. Kuhn, and that's going to score.
What a shot by Caroline Kuhn. That's such a beach shot. It kind of looked like we were out on the sand today, and it just really is a testament to her repertoire.
That's exactly what I was thinking. That is absolutely a beach shot.
That's a jumbo.
Jumbo shrimp, absolutely. Jarman, a big swing.
That is her bread and butter shot. The 6-foot junior is really doing a great job being able to find that 5-6, that middle back and left back seam. Last set, she was hitting a lot of those out. For her to be successful, she's really just got to finish that wrist down like that, especially because the middle back for Wake Forest is stepping right on her.
Into the middle, Saunders didn't get much, but she got enough. Sometimes that little change-up as a middle finds the floor. You wanted to swing hard. If the set was too high, you get it with your fingertips, and it throws off the defense.
Exactly, and we can see Billiard doesn't block, and she doesn't play defense. We talk about that a lot in volleyball. If you're not blocking and you're not playing defense, you're in no man's land. You're an obstacle at that point, so you have to do one or the other.
Big swing, Jarman. 2 big swings in a row.
That same spot, we call that... We number the areas on the volleyball courts. We call left back area 5, middle back area 6, and that 5-6 seam is absolutely lethal, especially now with Wake Forest putting their libero in middle back. That's something Caitlin Clark might not be as used to.
Jarman now back to serve. Kuhn blocked. Cyprian, another block for Virginia. She had 7 blocks against Wake Forest the first time these two teams met. She's got 4 already tonight.
I think that was a really fast set, but it was cross court, and everybody knew where she was setting, so you can't just hit low.
Parker Kwiatkowski just made an amazing set to give Caitlin Della absolutely no block.
I think that's Caitlin Della's favorite kind of block.
Well, it's everybody's favorite kind of block.
Kind of block.
But Kwiatkowski did a great job of keeping that ball alive. Della again, and another kill.
Again, the right back defense really needs to pick up for both teams. We can see Megan Wilson, a lot of movement. She's still moving back. When that ball's getting tipped, you have to be stopped on defense.
Into the middle, Della gets her hands on it. This is Kuhn. That should be a hands call, and it is. Well, sometimes they're easy to call.
Yeah, oh yes. And some of these you can see on the first ball, we saw a lot of ugly hands during that play, but as a reminder, it's legal to double the first ball, so you can make an ugly play, and that can be all right. But the second ball and the third ball absolutely has to be clean.
Kwiatkowski back to serve. We mentioned it's been a good scoring rotation for Wake Forest so far today. And it continues to be as Cyprian hits it into the net.
She wanted that sharp angle, and that's not really the time to take it. But one thing is UVA switched. They had a 4-man service. Even now they're switching to 2-man because they've done a really great job handling the serve this match.
Billiard. Kuhn. And that's going to find the floor. Carolyn Kuhn now 11 kills. And Wake Forest building a 5-point lead, forces Virginia into a timeout. That'll give us a chance to take it with them as you see Caroline Kuhn getting the kill and Wake Forest leading 12-7 here in the third set. Tomorrow we'll have Week 12 college football doubleheader for you on the ACC Network and the ESPN app. Duke hosts Syracuse and Durham at 4 p.m. Then Louisville squares off against NC State in the ACCN primetime matchup presented by Geico. All of that tomorrow, but tonight we got a pretty good volleyball game going on. Billiard is blocked, but it's out for a point for Virginia.
That's a sigh of relief by Virginia. And now this is a testy rotation for Virginia. You have Cyprian back to serve, no libero in, and this has caused a lot of confusion. And down 8-12, this isn't the time that they want those issues.
Get a good serve, almost an ace, but Kuhn keeps it alive. Go outside to Billiard, and that'll sail just a little bit out. Virginia wants a touch.
I actually thought there was a touch on that ball.
Well, there must have been, because everybody on Virginia's side is screaming for it, and their coach is going immediately to the green card. So
definitely we're going to be looking at a challenge right now.
So the call is a no touch and a point to Wake, although everyone on this side of the net seems to think that there was a touch.
We'll see. Block's not totally closed. Sometimes we get touches. Ooh, I saw a finger move on the left hand, on the right hand
this will be a
of
better
Michelle
look.
Polanchansky. Ready? Watch that finger right there.
Very well could be. We will see what...
I want to see... The only way to really get a good look at that is to do the net cam. If I'm the down ref, I'm asking, hey, that's all I can really make that judgment based off of. And this is a big point for UVA because that's the difference of being 13-8 or being 9-12.
Well, that's the thing. Wake Forest built a 5-point lead, and now if this is ruled a touch and it goes to Virginia, it'll only be a 3-point game, and then Wake Forest kind of gets in their head a little bit of, things aren't going. They've got to really build around and get things going back their way again. It's happened a little bit in that second set where Wake Forest had a lead for most of the set but allowed Virginia to get back into it.
Exactly, and even if UVA does get this point, they need to do a better job spreading the offense and being effective with it because right now, Sarah Billiard has 7 kills and she's really the only one who's been consistently producing.
They do call the touch, so the ruling is overturned. It is a point for Virginia.
They need to get the ball to Madison. She can produce, but she just hasn't gotten the ball enough to really make the impact that she could make in this game.
Yeah, right now, Aaron Smith being told he has 1 challenge left. He said, I would have 2 if you had called it right to start with.
I know, as we mentioned, they don't get them back, so I wonder if they'll end up changing that you get it back if you're right.
I mean, it seems that you should, although Cyprian hits it into the net and Wake gets the point anyway. But, yeah, to that point, it's not your fault that the referee missed the call. You challenge it, you're successful. I think you should get it back.
And even if you get it back and, there's 20 challenges in a match, I feel like it's almost worth it to get
the call right. Seuss able to put it down for a point for Wake Forest, and a good response here by Wake Forest after the challenge to get those 2 quick points and begin to build the lead back up.
Exactly, a cross-court set by Kwiatkowski, able to beat the block. Matthews not able to close shoulder to shoulder, giving Seuss some leeway.
Sebesta misses it wide.
Sebesta going for Jarman on that serve. Try to get her out of system a little bit. Just misses her.
7 service errors, only 1 service ace for Wake Forest. 5 service errors, 2 aces for Virginia. Into the middle. That's Della getting the kill. Caitlin Della's done a nice job with a variety of sets today.
Exactly, and even if the set's not perfect, this might not be the ball she totally wanted. She's able to put it in there, put it deep, and the defense for UVA was ready for a smash. They were set up for her big swing.
Matthews is blocked by Seuss.
And that's a great set, but again, as we talked about, we don't want to hit low into the block this game. We can see Right there, Seuss able to close it, put it down. Can't hit low against good blocking teams.
And she did it again, got blocked again, but good coverage that time by Jarman. And it's Billiard who gets it the kill.
That ball looked easier than it really was. I know whenever I played defense, you're set up for one thing, you're reading one thing. When it goes off the block even a little bit, we can see Sebesta kind of took that step right and then had to go left. It really shakes up your whole read, your whole prediction.
Good hustle by Kwiatkowski to get to it and Saunders to get it over. But it doesn't matter because Virginia gets the point. The kill from Novakovic.
That net cam is taking some hits today.
Well, that actually did get hit, and it's probably not straight down the net. If we get a challenge on the net, I'm not sure that camera's going to be able to see it.
I think it's given us a glamour shot of our up rep right now.
Saunders with the kill. Wake Forest able to get the side outs and keep Virginia from getting any closer. They've sort of been on this 5-6 points for the last few. Backside, Novakovic with a tip, and she'll score.
And that's a smart play. That's one of the only ones I've seen her do right now. And anyone who's not a libero and who might not be used to playing left back, it's a really hard tip to run down, one that goes just over the block. It creates a little bit of congestion between the blocker and the defense.
7 kills for Jelena Novakovic. She's second on the team behind Billiard with 10. Kuhn leads all players with 11. Seuss is blocked. Novakovic there.
This is that late game big effort by UVA that Wake Forest needs to be aware of. Both of these sets, they've been able to come back and kind of push at the end. It's time for Wake Forest to lock it down, be able to get a nice set to their hitters.
Tipped over by Tykowski. Novakovic again. Saunders. Could have been a lift.
Somebody was in the net.
They called a double. They could have called any one of things. They could have called a lift. They could have called a double. They could have called a net. They went with the double. Either way, Wake Forest gets the point.
A lot of infractions. I remember I used to ref volleyball and rec league in high school for a little extra money, and there would be 74 plays that, something in the play that went wrong, and I'd be like, all right, double lift, carry, in, out, net.
Just pick one. Kuhn fights it through.
I love that dig by Peyton Washington. She did a great job aligning on the UVA hitter, and they were able to convert on it, and that's what the Wake Forest defense has to do.
Biggest difference between this set and the second set is every time Virginia's pulled it to within 3, Wake Forest has been able to extend it back to 5. In that second set, Wake Forest allowed Virginia to get close and eventually get it tied. They've sort of kept Virginia at arm's length here in this third set.
Exactly, and that's something that Coach Randy Smart talked about before the game. Not just bleeding out points, not letting other teams string points together. You have to be able to put your foot down, and she talked a lot about having your leaders step up. She has a lot of leaders on this team. She has 3 seniors, and she also has 4 captains on the team. So that's really about, we have a little overlap, but that's about 5 people that can step in and say, hey, no more. We have to put our foot down. We have to stop bleeding out these points. This is what we need to do, and piggyback and put other people on their backs to be able to do that.
Well, you talk about the seniors, and it gives us a chance to look at the roster breakdown right now. But
I don't know. Who's the 4th senior? I'm pretty sure there's only 3.
Caitlin Clark, Caitlin Della, Caroline Rassenfoss, we know those.
I guess I'm a little biased since I just graduated last year, but I was like, I didn't think we added anybody.
But the point is, Sunday is senior day. We'll be here Sunday against Boston College. It will be senior day. And so a big night, a big day. You remember your senior day from last year.
I do.
That's one of those days that can kind of go either way because you're so emotional that day. Sometimes you play really well, sometimes not.
I remember my senior day. So on the Friday, we actually had a huge upset against Miami. Honestly, it might be my favorite college match that we played in. Sunday wasn't a great game. I believe we had Louisville, and obviously they're top of the conference. Louisville's not who you want to play for your last college home match, but it was still a lot of fun.
Still got to get through this one first, though. Wake Forest by 5 here in the third set. Match tied at a set apiece. Novakovic fights it through the block.
That's
Picks
a
up her 8th kill.
good set by Jennifer Weinhant. That's a tough ball when it comes behind you as a setter. So for her to get her feet back and put up a nice, pretty ball, that's big time. Definitely at this point in the game.
Wilson back into set for Virginia. Almost got an ace. Wake Forest did a good job to get it over, but Jarman puts it away.
It's a good reaction by Saunders. She's had a lot of really great reactionary plays these last couple of matches, which really goes beyond just the regular stats of being a middle.
That's a great swing by Jarman, yep.
And she's mixing up. I told you her bread and butter is kind of that seam ball in the back, but now she's trying sharp. She's hit one line.
Carolyn Kuhn keeps getting kills when needed for Wake Forest.
If I'm a Wake Forest outside hitter, I am hitting every ball to the right back at UVA. It's tough to see as a right back defender. You have your block there, and it's just an awkward angle. It's geometrically a lot closer than cross court.
13 kills for Caroline Kuhn. Her season high is 17. Still got a lot of volleyball to play tonight. That should be a double. It is.
I think she tried to do a little bit too much with that. You always want to put free balls on the setter. You always want to put them in right back, so it was a really good idea, but you can't make that decision as you're touching the ball.
The key for non-setters is to always set straight.
Yes.
Don't try and turn.
No
Don't
fancy.
Do it. Don't get fancy. Just go straight.
Everybody wanted a piece of that ball.
Well, that was close to being taken away. I guess nobody actually touched it. Another point for Virginia, and here they come. Back to within 2. This is as close as they have been since early in the set.
Another great dig by Washington. Wake Forest cannot let those plays go down. Parker Kwiatkowski is supposed to be the quarterback of the team. She's getting a little congested with the middles. Not a lot that Caitlin Della can do to get out of the way on that ball, so she has to talk. She has to tell Caitlin Della, hey, I'm blocked by you. You have to take this ball, or we're going to see more issues like that.
It was 9-7 Wake Forest earlier in this set. Then Wake Forest went on a run to extend the lead to 14-9. And so this is as close as Virginia has come since it was 9-7 earlier in the set. This is another point where this timeout by Coach Smart is really all about what's going on their side of the net. Make a decent pass, get a decent set, a good attack, get the point, and go back to serve up by 3.
I'm interested to see what UVA is going to try offensively. They're going to be serving right now. So they're going to want to try to mix it up. They're still down. I'm really interested to see what hitter is going to be chosen to try to put that ball away, because you have to play defense immediately after.
Well, for Wake Forest, I think you've got Della and Kuhn both in the front row. So clearly, 2 good options there. You would rather go to Della, but the way Carolyn Kuhn has been hitting tonight, that's a perfectly good option.
333, yeah. She's not... Both Della and Caroline Kuhn are hitting a 333. They're going to run Caitlin Della on a backslide, so the fast-tempoed set behind the setter, and they're going to run number 10, Caroline Kuhn, on kind of a medium tempo, so moderately fast ball to the outside, to the pin. Try to beat that block that's been so effective for the Cavaliers tonight.
Cyprian, Billiard, and Weinholter the block for Virginia.
Bit of a servicey breakdown for the Deeps.
They get it back, though. Run Della on the slide. That's out.
That's
Point for Wake Forest.
Ball you do not want to make an error on. You have not gotten a lot of digs from your right back. You want to reward that. You want to give your right back the good feelies after those. Weinhart just needs to keep that ball in.
You know, every swing I took as an offensive player. I never worried about what the guy that got the dig was thinking. That ball's also out, so that's back-to-back attack errors for Virginia, and Wake Forest able to build the lead back up to 4.
2 hitting errors in a row. You're starting to string those together, and Aaron Smith talked a lot about how Virginia was doing such a great job with their offense. They need to pull it together to be successful in the set.
Into the middle, Cyprian puts it away.
Ask and you shall receive.
7 kills for Mila Cyprian.
We can see she approaches nice and close to the setter. She faced like she was going to hit it sharp to area 5 to the left back and then put it deep in the middle back.
It's a good serve.
Another communication breakdown for the Deacons. Can't happen at this point in the match, especially between a libero. If you have to pass it over, I would just let the libero have that. Get out of the way.
Big service error. Especially since Wake Forest had just given Virginia basically a free point. Virginia gives it right back, and now Wake Forest 23-20 here in the third set.
Those are any play that you would run for in practice is not a play that you want to institute in a game.
Sebesta to serve. Outside for Billiard. Seuss off the block and down, and now 4 set points for Wake Forest. Remember, Virginia fought off 3 of them in the second set to tie this match. They'll have to fight off 4 now. Sebesta to serve for set number 3.
Kind of a hybrid 4-man serve receive for the Cavaliers.
Overpass, ball game. Polchansky puts it away. Wake Forest takes set number 3 and now leads the match 2-1. We'll go to break, come back with... See how set number 3 ended, an overpass, and Michelle Polchansky putting it away for her 5th kill of the match, giving Wake Forest a 2-1 lead going into set number 4. And right now, attack percentage leaning towards Wake Forest. They're hitting 234 on the match, so just 189. There you see Polchansky, 5 kills. She's hitting an even 200. Carolyn Kuhn leading the way with 13 kills. Peyton Seuss and Olivia Saunders 10 each. Sarah Billiard leading Virginia with 10 kills, followed by Yelena Novakovic with 8, and Mila Cyprian has 7. But right now, Wake Forest a 2-1 lead at home, trying to end an 11-match losing streak if they can pull out one more set.
I think the big thing, in my opinion, is that was a 5-point game. Wake Forest has 5 more kills than UVA does. I think for UVA, they have about the same hitting percentage in that last set. They have about the same, number of blocks and all these things. I think it really comes down to the effectiveness of those swings. UVA is not really able to get those kills or protect Wake Forest from getting them. They need to improve on their right back defense and really get their middles involved.
So the team who has been on the left side of the court has won each of the first 3 sets.
I always like your hypotheses with the sets. Last time we played, it was the team with the most blocks won each set. We don't really have that going on today. Now, it's the side of the court. I'm digging it. Let's see if you're right.
That's why in a 5th set you have to change sides at 8, so that there's no advantage on side.
Interesting story about that. When I was a senior, we played at UVA, and And in their gym, it's historic, and they have a big fan on top. And our coach actually called for them to turn off the fan because he thought that it was impacting the play.
Wow. Tip for Polchansky. She gets the kill, and Wake Forest takes the first point of set number 4.
I'm a little surprised they didn't call a double on that one, but I think it was such a fast set the ref didn't even have time to check it out.
Goes under athletic play, I suppose. Caitlin Clark back to serve for the Deacs. Bad pass. Seuss one-on-one, puts it away.
And she hit it through the block. She didn't even care about going around the block at that time. She was able to just get higher than the block, and you really should get higher when you're approaching and the blocker's just jumping straight up.
11 kills now for Seuss on the night. Billiard fights it through and gets the kill for Virginia to end the 3-0 run. No, they gave that point to Wake Forest. They said it was a block.
Touched off her on the block, kind of like that earlier play that got challenged last set.
So a point for Wake Forest. They lead 3-0. Polchansky. Seuss again. And it's out.
University of Virginia's lucky. They're having a bit of a serve-receive breakdown. If they want to get their middles involved, like Coach Aaron Smith talked to me before, they need to improve their serve-receive. We're not going to be able to tell from that angle if it's in or out, but it looked like a great swing to me.
Well, everyone threw their hand up, so I believe that was probably the right call. Saunders gets the kill.
Middle to middle. We have Cyprian heads out for libero Spencer.
You see Olivia Saunders' night, 11 kills, hitting .667. Wake Forest has 3 players in double figures in kills. Weinholt gets the kill for Virginia. She'll rotate back to serve. Weinholt, just her second kill tonight. She's actually hitting minus. She does have 16 assists. Megan Wilson has 19 or 20 now.
It's hard when you have such a dual role as a hitter. She has to set, she has to play defense, she has to swing. It's hard to do all 3 really well every game.
Nice dig that time by Spencer. Virginia gets it over. Deacons go out to Seuss, and she puts it away.
Another one-on-one situation that Seuss is really able to utilize the block. There's not a whole lot the defenders can do on that play.
Well, you do. You see the one-on-one, and the outside hitter has to win that every single time.
Exactly. Novakovic is doing a great job lining up on her, just not as great of a job pressing over.
Novakovic blocked, but good coverage again by Spencer. Spencer new to the libero position, but doing a good job. Saunders is blocked. That time it's Billiard and Matthews combining. Did you take a look at the block?
A nice swing block. Block wasn't necessarily closed, so they're lucky that she was able to press over and take care of it herself.
Billiard doing a good job blocking for Virginia. This is Kuhn. Novakovic tipping, but Washington there.
Probably would have gotten called on a lift on that either way. Anytime you kind of do that cupping motion, the under motion with your hand, refs are not going to like that one bit.
Yeah, that was a tough set, tough attack. Not very much they could do about it. And a service ace. That's Leland's second ace of the night. And this has been a match devoid of service aces. That's only the 4th ace. 3 for Virginia, 1 for Wake Forest. Just haven't been very many of those today. And checking in for Wake Forest is Allie Nielsen.
Allie Nielsen is actually a captain for the Demon Deacons. She's played in 60 sets out of about the 88 sets this season.
Saunders hit it out. And now Virginia has taken their first lead. of set number 4. And a timeout by Coach Randy Smart. That'll take us to a break. We'll come back with more in the 4th set between Wake Forest and Virginia.
I'm for truth, no matter who tells it. I'm for justice, no matter who it's for or against.
So will you ever get out of here?
If you promise to tell me the truth.
Back set number 4, Virginia leads Wake Forest 6-5. Wake Forest leads the match 2 sets to 1. Leland back to serve for Virginia, who is on a 4-0 run right now. Carolyn Kuhn, and it's now a 5-0 run. As Virginia gets their 14th block of the match.
I think Wake Forest has been relying a lot on their offense to produce. Right now, 4 of their 5 points have been through kills, but they also have 5 errors, so they're living and dying by it.
It's a service error, but remember, blocks do count as attack errors, so the Virginia block has a lot to do with that.
Exactly. We can see Olivia Saunders is back to serve, so no libero, a weaker rotation for the Demon Deacons defensively.
That should be a hands call, and it is. So we're tied at 7. Saunders back to serve.
UVA has Jarman on the outside right now, Novakovic on the right, and Matthews in the middle.
Back set. And Novakovic puts it away. Virginia regains the lead.
Her 9th kill of the night. She's second on the team in kills, only to Sarah Billiard hitting a 208.
Kuhn blocked again. She's been blocked on her last 2 swings. Free ball. This is Della. Sipperin. And Wake Forest in the net. Wouldn't have mattered. Sipperin gets the kill anyway.
I liked in that play that Kaitowski was being a little bit more offensive. Last game, she actually hit the best of anyone. She was at a 308. I see no reason why she can't get herself in the offense when there's only 2 hitters up.
Nice dig that time by Weinholt. Good block by Della and Kuhn. And that was a much-needed point for Wake Forest. As the 9th block for Wake Forest. You take another look at it. It's a good press. And a kill off the touch by Novakovic. And
As
both
I've said
offenses
before,
kind of getting into a rhythm right now.
I was going to say, as I've said before, those high hand swings, being able to use the very top of the block is always going to be effective because your fingers are so much weaker. You're able to break through them.
Overpass. On the slide. Sipperin blocked but covers herself. Jarman. Kuhn tips. Jarman right there. They figured out that tip above the block. Backside for Polchansky, and she puts it away.
That was a really smart set by Kaitowski because we could see Jarman, after she picked up the tip, ran over and was on the right side, and then she had to run back over and try to block back over here on the outside, and it was just too much running. She's not able to get there, set a really nice block. That leaves the middle not closing the block. Very smart play by the freshman setter for Wake Forest. Good reactionary touch by Paige Sebesta. Not quite high enough for anyone to help her out.
Weinholt ran a middle there and got the kill.
I'm all for running the middle. I think that's really going to be the key to UVA's success is not only their blocking, but getting the middle involved any way possible.
Polchanski hit that one out. Wake Forest asking for a touch, and now
There's
we're
our
going
challenge.
to get a challenge.
Polchanski only has 3 errors right now.
So we have a challenge by Coach Randy Smart challenging the no call of a touch. And we'll see if we can get a look at it. Of course, obviously these are very difficult to see.
I think there might have
Very close. Yeah, it's very close to the hands.
been. We
So
see
we'll have to
Billiard
see.
is cheering. She at least knows to fake it, if nothing else. It's going to be a tight call, and again, if it's inconclusive, if they can't decide or really make a decision based off of what they're able to see, they're going to go with the initial ruling, which in this case is no touch, and that will be point.
Although what I will
Cavaliers.
say is they should get a pretty good look at it. That happened right on the side where the net camera is. Although that's not what they're looking at on this one. They're looking at a different angle.
Interesting.
They've made the decision quickly.
Let's see what we got.
And it is a touch.
That must have been the angle.
And so it's a point for Wake Forest, and Randy Smart wins a challenge.
Lots of challenges this match.
So the score is now 11-10 Virginia after the challenge. You see the challenges remaining. 1 for Wake Forest, none for Virginia. Into the middle, Saunders. Billiard. Seuss. Polchanski. And she gets the kill. Michelle Polchanski picking things up a little bit. That's her 8th kill. And I think 3 of them are in this set, and 1 of them ended the last set. So she has 4 kills in a fairly short amount of time.
Exactly. And that's what really keeps the Wake Forest offense spread so that UVA has to worry about everybody, not just one hitter who's on fire.
Service ace for Caitlin Clark, her 24th of the season, only the 2nd of the night for Wake Forest. That'll force Virginia into a timeout as Wake Forest has taken the lead here in the 4th set, 12-11.
Aaron Smith does not want the Deacons to get a big run right now.
Important match for both teams. Obviously, both teams under 500, sort of near the bottom of the standings in the ACC. So both teams sort of look at this as a winnable match for them. Virginia has been playing better. They've won 2 of their last 3. They snapped a 9-match losing streak earlier in the season by beating Wake Forest. Wake Forest has lost 11 straight. If they could get a win tonight, it would do wonders for their confidence heading into Senior Day on Sunday, but also just for the overall mindset of the team to get a win in conference play.
Exactly, and as I mentioned at the beginning, Wake Forest could go to the NIBC. We can see on the ACC standings, normally the ACC sends about 4 or 5 teams to the ACC depending on the strength, and this year it's strong. We know that Pitt, top of the conference, 14-0. They have 1 loss overall, which is to Penn State. They also beat Penn State once this season. They're definitely going to be high-seeded in the NCAA tournament. But you have some teams that could be on the bubble. You have North Carolina, Boston College, who Wake Forest will be playing. Wake Forest could knock Boston College right off the bubble. A loss to Wake Forest is not going to punch their ticket to the NCAA tournament anytime soon.
Well, we mentioned North Carolina. I think North Carolina is the team on the bubble right there at 10-4, 13-11 overall, but they've won 10 out of 12. So if the committee takes into how you finish the season as opposed to how you started the season, North Carolina might have a chance.
Which they should. They normally look at your strength of schedule, and they also look at your final 10 games to make those decisions.
So Caitlin Clark, after the ace, back to serve with Wake Forest leading 12-11 here in the 4th set. Very good. Polchanski got a touch.
Weird play on both teams. We hear a lot of crowd arguing. It was kind of ping-ponging up there. Neither team seems totally happy with something not being called earlier in the rally.
Seuss swatted back by Cyprian.
They do
And
not
poor
want to
contacts.
deal with that tip to area 2 anymore tonight.
Neela Cyprian just batted it back.
Cyprian now back to serve. Get Matthews back up there, who's having herself a night, but just not getting the ball.
Sebesta out of the back row. Cyprian with a dig. Seuss gets the kill to end the rally. All right, so in that rally,
hard
Caitlin
rally.
Clark set one. It looked like she was aiming for the top of the tape to try and get it. Do you practice that? Is that something y'all try and do?
Absolutely not.
I was going to say.
It was a great play. She has really strong hands, and she's very accurate hands. So if anyone was going to do it, she was the person to do it. But definitely nerve-wracking, I'm sure.
Well, I was going to say, I wouldn't think you would try that, but you never know. That ball ruled in, and a point for Virginia.
Anytime I would try to send a free ball over, I would feel so sneaky. As a libero, you don't get to take the third ball often, so I would come up and try to do it as short as possible right onto the setter, because there's a lot of congestion in Area 1 and Area 2, which is the right front and right back of the court.
Tchaikovsky gets a kill.
We talked earlier about wanting her to be a little bit more offensive, and it works. When she's front row, there's only 2 hitters. The blockers are going to camp out on her hitters, make them be honest, make them stick on her by getting some kills yourself.
It's her first kill of the match. Last time these two teams played, she had 6 kills and hit 308, as you mentioned earlier. So she was very offensive the first time. Hasn't really done a lot of it today as that ball is out.
I was looking at the numbers a little bit. She has now 60, but before this match, 59 attempts on the season, and 22% of them came in that UVA match. And she was successful. If it doesn't, if it works, go for it.
This is Kuhn. Carolyn Kuhn's been quiet here in this set. Play on.
A lot of free balls and tips.
Billiard, big swing, but off the block. Kuhn again. And that's going to go into the net. Bodies flying all over the place. Like you said, not particularly attractive volleyball, but good hustle on both sides. And now a timeout called by Virginia. And that is the last timeout for Aaron Smith in this set. They trail by 4 as Wake Forest trying to end an 11-match losing streak. Their last win was at Syracuse on October the 4th.
It's hard late in the season. You get a little bit more of a difficult schedule, typically in ACC play. And when you go long runs without getting wins, it can really be deflating. So it's important for the Demon Deacons to kind of win out these next couple of games that are very obtainable for them and potentially go to that NIBC tournament.
Take a look at some highlights from Peyton Seuss, who has 13 kills tonight, hitting 105. She is tied for the team high in kills, along with Carolyn Kuhn, who both have 13. Wake Forest has 4 players in double figures now that Polchansky has entered in. As you see, the last kill by Seuss. Virginia has 2 players in double figures, Belliard and Novakovic. Seuss 13 kills, hitting 105. She also has 10 digs, so she has a double-double, her 8th of the season.
We can see Wake Forest already on the floor, ready to go. The Deeks have a thing about the ball, though, I will say. So they will not give the ball to the server really early. So if Seuss were to have the ball right now, she'd probably toss it to Clark and not just sit on it. they're a little bit superstitious.
Yeah, I would say so. There you see some numbers from the night. Wake Forest leading in attack percentage. Aces pretty even. Blocks heavily towards Virginia. And the digs pretty even. It's been a pretty even night with Wake so far, just a little bit better. Novakovic off the left side. So strange to see a left-handed swing from that side of the floor.
Exactly, and it's really difficult for a left-handed person on the left side to be able to hit lines. So if you're Wake Forest, you want to pull in that block and block her cross, force her to do something that might be uncomfortable.
Kuhn still can't put it away.
What a dig.
No touch. That should be no touch.
We might see a challenge after this if there's any left.
Not going to worry about it because Saunders got the block. But yeah, I don't believe that first ball ever cleared the net. But Wake Forest got the point anyway, so no need to challenge.
Definitely questionable, but as we've said before, the game's really fast. The game's really fast. It's easy to miss calls like that, and once it goes, you can't really go back.
Well, and it's always better to err on the side of a touch because the block is there. If you blow it dead, there's no way to continue on. If you allow the play to continue on, you can always go back. And the kill for Virginia. Matthews again. She's having a nice night. Madison Matthews, 7 kills, only 1 error on 13 swings. Three hitters for Virginia, and Cyprian puts it away.
Both Cyprian and Matthews like that spot, like that sharp area 5. We say she faces it, and she's able to finish there with her hand. Your hand really controls where the ball's going to go. Defense has to read that.
Into the middle, Della, big kill.
Answers right back.
10 kills for Caitlin Della. That is 5 players in double figures for Wake Forest. And I would have to think that Randy Smart is ecstatic about that. Backside, Novakovic, another kill.
It's that right back defense is really the Achilles heel for a lot of teams. You have your setter back there. Your setter wants to release to the net, so they do not want to play defense. So when you have someone who's kind of thinking about running, they're not going to be playing as great of defense. It's a low set.
Della again. Jarman, nice cross-court swing by Jarman.
We almost got a piece of that.
You were in position.
I was lined up. I had a great read on her.
You'll see basically what we saw.
Boom, that's right where I would have been. I think there's a foot fault on that serve. Didn't look like the line judge was looking at it.
And a hands call on Wake Forest. That'll tie it at 19.
But even before that, it looks like Wake Forest is kind of getting a little bit panicked on those plays. We can see Randy Smart is actually talking to the down rep right now to say, look for the
foot fault.
Look for the foot fault.
No problem on that one.
That time, about a foot away.
Della. Every time Wake Forest has to get out of a rotation, if Della's in the front row, that's where they go.
Exactly, and the way to run Della is having great defense and handling those balls so that they can get the ball tight. You can't set a middle on a ball that's not tight. So it really comes down to if your defense is able to get that ball up to her.
Sebesta back to serve. Wake Forest leading 2019 here, 4th set. Della again.
You might not have noticed this, but UVA actually tried to do a trick play here. We can see that Weinhold actually, before this play, moved over and tried to hit a 2-ball from the right side in the middle, and Wake Forest was not fooled by this at all, was able to get a perfect pass and again get Della into the offense.
12 kills for Caitlin Della tonight. And a kill for Cyprian. Her 10th, so Virginia now has 3 players in double figures.
If you're Wake Forest on the block, she's hit to left back or area 5 every single time. I want to get my outside in there to help block and totally take that away. Make her hit to area 1 or the right back so that she has to do something different and weird for her.
Della hits it into the net. Set was too low. Really didn't have a swing on it.
And same thing on this play. Hitters don't like to do things that are weird for them. When things get tight like this in a 21 game, they want to do what's comfortable.
Force feeding Della right now, and she's up to the task.
And I see why.
21 Wake Forest.
She's rotated in the back now, so you want to get your show horse as many balls as possible before she has to go back there. And she did a great job.
She had a kill in each position on those 3 rotations. Cyprian a kill for Virginia to answer right back. 22-22, 4th set.
And Wake Forest needs to be ready. That's what they want Cyprian to do. That's basically a tip. So now she's not getting the slam to the left back. She's tipping kind of to the right back. You have to pick those up. That's going to be a tight ball.
But Polchansky forces it through and gets the kill. Michelle Polchansky, that's a big point for Wake Forest. Now Wake Forest needs a point on serve.
I love on that swing how Polchansky was able to go up and challenge the block on the tight ball. That's how you play to win versus playing not to lose, as I mentioned before.
Belliard tips. That's a double. Virginia gets the point. We're tied again at 23.
And that's a smart read on the defense. You have someone playing right back who's not normally used to playing right back. Polchansky's getting subbed out for a defensive specialist right now. You want to put it on that person while they're back there. They're kind of a defensive liability.
Well, we've been here before. The first 2 sets were 2-point differences. We're going to have a 2-point difference in this one as well. The block, Saunders and Kaitowski, and it's match point for Wake Forest.
Incredible play by both teams, and another thing that I think Wake Forest did really well is Allie Nielsen hasn't played it all this game. She hasn't played it all the last few games, and she's been able to come in and nail every pass so far and put the Deacons in a great position to score.
The crowd at Reynolds Gym is on their feet, hoping that the Deeks can get a point on serve. And they do. Wake Forest ends the streak and wins it 25-23 in the 4th set.
Clutch performance by the Demon Deacons. That's definitely going to give them a lot of confidence going into this final game on Sunday. Not a lot of teams get to end in their own gym on a win. Very impressive, and very impressive offensively by the Demon Deacons. Able to hit a .216 and have 5 players in double-digit kills.
Yeah, that's really the story of this match, is the consistency for Wake Forest. 5 players in double figures. Peyton Seuss, Caroline Kuhn, Caitlin Della, all with 13. And then Michelle Polchansky and Olivia Saunders add 11 each. So all up and down the lineup, they get it done. So, for our entire crew, for Haley Brooke McFadden, I'm Everett Hutto. To watch this entire game on replay as well as other games on the ACC network, download the ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. Wake Forest wins it 3-1 over Virginia.